Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking. I just recently got back from a class up at REI at their flagship in Seattle called How Not to Die, Backcountry Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. It was put on by the King County Search and Rescue, Washington Trail Association, Kula Cloth, REI, and the Northwest Avalanche Center. And it was a Kula Academy event. That's why I signed up for it. 4 hours long, and it was not quite what I was expecting. Thankfully, I didn't learn a ton, meaning I've got quite a bit of experience out there. So I was happy to see that most of the scenarios they put us into, the gear I decided to bring with me, hopefully would have kept me alive. But I did have a couple important takeaways from that. And the biggest of them is that this device right here has made me a bit lazy in my hiking habits. Now, typically, anytime I'm going out, be it for a day hike or an overnight, I'm gonna have the 10 essentials with me, but not always. Usually I'm gonna have something to keep the elements off of me, something to keep me warm in case things go wrong, but a lot of times, I just know I have this in my back pocket, or cell reception, or I'm at a popular trailhead, all of that kind of thing. What I learned was, the average rescue, depending on how far out you are, takes about 6 hours just to get to you, not necessarily including the extraction. So if I break my ankle and I'm stuck out there, assuming I can get an actual signal on this, you do have to link up with the satellite, and I'm in a heavily wooded area, or that I have cell reception to make the call to 911, there is a good chance I'm gonna be there for a good long time before anybody comes to help. Because of that, I have decided that, just taking some space blankets and hoping all is for the best, that I do need to try and make sure, I always have the water filter, have a stove with me, so in case I need to rehydrate some meals, which I do need to take a little more food, and probably always have an emergency bivvy along with some of those space blankets, so if I do need to try and stay warm for 4 to 6 hours, I can comfortably do so. I also learned a bit about avalanche danger, not something I'm super familiar with since I very infrequently go play in the snow, but it is a goal for this year and hoping to do a trip either this month or next to go do some snowshoeing. So kind of good information to have as to how to be aware of things. Very little bit learned about, actual extraction and that kind of thing, but perked my interest enough that maybe I'll look into some courses down the road. It also helped me realize I don't know anything about map and compass. I always have a compass with me, and typically all my GPS stuff is done via the Garmin or my cell phone. I do carry backup batteries, and technically they're redundant, but I always keep a compass because a lot of times I'm in a location where, like say the Columbia River Gorge, if I'm hiking on the Oregon side, if I keep heading north, eventually I'm going to hit a river, the Columbia River. So I've been lucky to have that as an option. If it's a trail where there's lots of connections, I will typically print off a paper map, just so I know when I get to a trail junction what way I need to go, in case one of those pieces dies on me. But I definitely need to take an actual navigation course so I can learn how to properly utilize a map and compass. So if all else fails, I have an analog something there that can hopefully get me back to safety. The third thing I learned is the Washington Trails Association has a pretty neat app. I am currently looking at the Coyote Wall Trail, hoping to do some hiking there. There's an option to do trip reports. It tells you current conditions, dogs allowed, rivers, wildflowers, waterfalls, mountain views. Gives you some description, elevation gain, highest point, and a calculated difficulty, along with user uploaded photos. So to me, it's a little bit like an All Trails, but kind of a little more trustworthy, I'm hoping. We will see as I put it to use coming up on some adventures in Washington. So thank you to everyone who helped put this on. I'm going to run through them one more time here. We have King County Explorer Search and Rescue, Washington Trails Association, Kula Cloth, REI, and the Northwest Avalanche Center. It was a great event. I did learn some stuff despite being a fairly experienced hiker, and will definitely change the way I approach my hikes in the future. For more information on the trails and the gear you see on this channel, visit my website at topshelfbackpacking.com. And until I see you again, cheers.